Hello, the Academic Advising Program sends a warm welcome to all of the families of the class of 2024. My name is Laura Weichel. I am the Deputy Director and one of the Senior Assistant Deans. I have the honor and privilege of representing our team of over 60 advising personnel who work with and on behalf of nearly 18,000 undergraduates in the College of Arts and Sciences. I wish I could deliver these remarks to you in person today. Meeting with the families of our newest Tar Heels is always the highlight of my summer. I hope you will find this recording an acceptable substitute, and you'll excuse any recording imperfections. So without further delay, let's get to our presentation. I am so excited to talk to you today about the Academic Advising Program and how we partner with students for their success. Specifically, I will share information on the transition your student will experience here at UNC, academic advising's role in partnering with them and how you can best support them, and what to expect from advising as we prepare your student for registration for the fall semester. We know that all UNC students performed well in high school. You're here today because of what your student was able to accomplish over the past 4 years. But we know that it's not unusual for high-performing students to have challenges adjusting to UNC academics. They are smart and intelligent, but there will be a transition as they adjust to a new academic rigor. The most important thing you can do now for your student is applaud their successes and support them as they face different challenges. Here are a few ways that academics at UNC will differ from their high school experience. The classroom and the amount of time required to prepare for classes may feel very different to your student. Classes don't meet every day. Students need to plan to study and keep up with each course independently. The expectation is that for every hour in class, they will spend 2 to 4 hours per week in preparation. A 3-hour class translates into 6 to 12 additional hours per week. And with a 15 credit hour average, that's 30 to 60 additional hours. Fewer grades will factor into a student's final grade, so students will not always know to the nearest decimal how they are doing in a class. For some, this can cause anxiety, and for others, a false sense of security. The university provides recommended grading standards, but gives faculty the autonomy to set the grade structure for their class. The course syllabus will outline requirements and the grading system. Students will receive the syllabus on the first day of class. If unsure how they will be evaluated, they should ask the instructor for clarification. They may be evaluated differently in each class. Some classes may have a curve or no curve, and there may be a different numerical grade cutoff for letter grades. Their study habits may need to change. Critical thinking will be emphasized. Facts are important, but they need to know how they fit in and how to apply them to new situations. Your support is critical as your student begins to recalibrate their study habits and adjust to new expectations in the classroom. Academic advising's goal is to partner with your student to help them develop their own academic and life goals and formulate their own plans. Your student will choose their courses and register for them. But academic advising will be here to help. In our interactions with students, we encourage exploration, explain the general education curricula and the requirements for their majors of interest. We provide relevant policy and procedural information and connect your student to resources. Students can connect with advising in multiple ways. We operate out of 3 locations on campus: Steele Building on North Campus, the Seminar Wing of Hardin Residence Hall on South Campus, and the Loudermilk Center for Excellence, where we primarily meet with our student athletes on mid-campus. We offer daily drop-in hours, including evening hours, advising appointments, and a chat service through our resource-rich website. We also use Instagram and Twitter to post information for students. All the information your student needs to know about selecting classes, building their schedule, and registering for classes at Carolina is encapsulated in your new student guide. It's an online resource available on the New Student and Family Programs website. This should be a go-to resource this summer, and you can refer your student to it when they have questions. Ultimately, the most important thing you can do as your student begins their journey at Carolina is encourage their exploration, provide emotional support as they experience new highs and lows, keep the lines of communication open, and encourage them to use the many resources at UNC. We know that sometimes you might have questions about your students' academics, and you may be wondering how you can access that information. Our hope is that you and your student are communicating regularly about their academic progress and any challenges they are experiencing. Throughout orientation, you will likely hear about the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, or FERPA. FERPA governs our ability as educational administrators to release information about a student's educational record. Once your student turns 18, they become the owners of their educational record, and without their consent, we cannot release their academic information. While we prefer to talk to students about their academic challenges, we do know that sometimes students are ill or injured, and it's important for advising to be able to speak with someone other than the student about their academic options. Prior to orientation, students received information about how to set up a PIN that allows them and anyone they authorize to access information contained in their academic record. Now you may be asking yourself, what is that PIN? I encourage you to ask your student about that and decide together about having access to their records. Now let's switch gears and talk about what a first semester schedule should look like. Enrollment in at least 12 credit hours is required for full-time status. Students cannot be enrolled in less credit hours without special permission. This is important for financial aid and health insurance. 18 credit hours is the maximum number of credit hours allowed, again, without special permission. Students have the ability to enroll in 17 credits now. Credit limits will be increased to 18 hours on August 3rd. Please know that I am not advocating that a first semester student enroll in 18 hours, but I do think it's important for you to understand the limits. I strongly recommend that students enroll in 15 to 17 hours by the end of the first week of classes. It's not unusual for students to attend class on the first day and realize that a class is just not for them. Being enrolled in 15 to 17 hours provides them with flexibility to drop a class and still maintain full-time status. Students have up to the second week of classes to edit their schedule. On average, students should complete 15 credit hours a semester, or 30 credit hours per year, so that by the end of the fourth year, they reach the 120 credit hour minimum required for graduation. This is the average. Things like AP credit, transfer credit, and summer sessions can provide flexibility. A first semester schedule typically includes courses that fulfill general education, prerequisites for a major or minor, and electives. We know that some students get very worried about having the perfect schedule their first semester, and you may already be hearing about this from your student. Students have 8 semesters to complete their degree, and I've never known anyone to take longer than 8 semesters to graduate because they did not have the perfect schedule their first semester. You can help ease their mind about that. You may be wondering how registration for fall classes will work. In May, students responded to a survey with their academic interests, and UNC has pre-registered them in 2 classes for a total of 5 or 6 hours. This is to give them a head start on registration for just this semester. Going forward, students will register for all classes on their own. They are not obligated to keep these 2 classes. They can drop or swap out these classes for others if they want when they register. Now, you may hear from your student that all classes look closed. This will appear to be true and may be true for some classes. Remember, our returning students already registered back in April. Know that students will gain priority registration each semester they are here. The main reason classes look closed is because we have a seat release program, which equitably distributes seats throughout the summer. Before each registration window opens, seats in typical first-year classes will be added. So what may look closed now may be open when it's time to register. Registration in fall classes will take place following orientation. At orientation, we provide students with information on course selection and planning and how to register. And then registration takes place later in the summer. By registering after orientation, we believe students have an opportunity to digest the information they hear, search for classes, and follow up with advisors via email if they have any questions. So, when do they actually register? A student's registration window is based on the date of their orientation sessions. Please note your student's assigned registration time in the new student guide. The registration window is 28 hours long, beginning at 10 a.m. on the first day through 2 p.m. the following day. It's very important for students to have a long list of courses and be flexible. Their shopping carts in Connect Carolina, the system in which they register, should contain 40 courses. These can be different sections of the same courses, not necessarily 40 completely different courses. The goal is not to get the perfect schedule, but a good schedule. And how students will be happiest during summer registration is by being prepared with a long list of options. Once their registration window closes at 2 p.m. on the second day, the next opportunity students will have to make changes to their schedule is when the registration system reopens for them at 10 a.m. on July 29th. They can continue to edit their schedule until September the 1st. There will be a lot of movement in and out of classes during this time. So students should not get discouraged if their schedule isn't exactly the way they want it when their registration window closes this summer. Within 10 days of registration, each student will receive an email from an advisor with feedback on their schedule. And once fall semester begins, we will be accessible to students during the first week of classes for registration questions, issues, or just reassurance. We will have registration support available to your student during business hours in the days leading up to and during their registration window. We will offer a chat service for general advising questions that do not require the exchange of personal information. Advisor support will also be provided through Zoom. Details on accessing Zoom will be provided to the students. You can also access the advising website, advising.unc.edu, to read first-year student registration frequently asked questions. Additionally, up-to-date information is posted on your student's Sakai site during their 28-hour registration window. In our experience, students who leave orientation and continue to prepare for their registration by adding classes to their shopping cart and developing different schedule options are the students who have the best registration experience. How are students interacting with advising during orientation? There are 5 more than just a major recorded workshops for families and students to view. Business, pre-health, science, math, social and behavioral sciences, and fine arts and humanities. In more than just a major, students will learn firsthand from orientation leaders and faculty what they need to know for their first year as they explore and engage in their potential majors and areas of interest. Students will also watch a video that explains the general education curriculum and how to understand requirements for their majors and minors of interest. Academic advisors will follow this up with a 1-hour live Zoom session to work with students in understanding the resources available to help them generate their fall schedule. By the end of this 1-hour session, students will understand how to search for and select classes, how to fill their shopping carts, and build their fall schedule so they can continue to prepare for their registration in July. Please do stay in touch with academic advising. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram. We post information regularly, and you can visit our website at advising.unc.edu, where we have many resources and frequently asked questions. Thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoy the rest of orientation.